Good morning. Welcome to First Parish in Waltham. We are glad you are here. Whoever you are, wherever you are in life's journey, you are welcome here. My name is Pam Penton. I serve as the Commissioner of Faith Formation on the Board of Managers. My pronouns are she and her. Today is my birthday. And it's a big one. It's a big one. I got my Medicare card in the mail, so you know what that means. Thank you. So I am, mid-60s, white woman with some curly hair and today a black top because I'm playing with the kids and it doesn't show dirt. Here are this week's announcements. We try very hard to make our service as accessible as possible. We have hearing helpers and large print versions of the order of service and hymnals available from the ushers. If you are visiting today or new among us, please ask an usher how you can stay in touch. Our weekly newsletter is emailed on Wednesdays. Paper copies can be found in the entrances of our building. This week's edition includes information about upcoming church events such as book group and an invitation to join our friends at Temple Beth Israel for a lecture. The Waltham Clothing Exchange is open again on Tuesdays. Come and find a bargain between 10 and 4:30 in the rooms in our basement. After today's service, we are all invited to attend I'd like to offer a huge thank you to the volunteers who offered their skills, services, and time to support this event. Did you know that you can volunteer to provide flowers for our altar? Perhaps you would like to celebrate an important event with our First Parish friends. If this is today here, please check that you've silenced your phones and other communication devices. And now, please turn around and wave to the lovely people who are joining us via Zoom.
Here in the refuge of this Sabbath home, we turn our busy minds towards silence and our full hearts towards one another. We move together through the mysteries, the bright surprise of birth and the shadowed questions of death. In our slow walk between the two, we will be wounded and we will be showered with grace, amazing, unending. Even in our sorrows, we feel our lives cradled in holiness we cannot comprehend. And though we each walk within a vast loneliness, the promise we offer here is that we do not walk alone. This is a holy place in which we gather. The light of the earth brought in and held, touched then by our answering light, the flame on a chalice, the flicker of a candle, the lamps of our open faces brought near. In this place of silence and celebration, solemnity and music, we make a sanctuary and name our home. May these words by Reverend Kathleen McTeague shape this sacred space we create here and now together. Come, come. You are invited. Let us worship. Our chalice lighters this morning are two of our new kiddos, Raya and Mirabelle, and our words come from Eric Walker Wickstrom, which is a name some of you might have heard before. called For Each and For All. We light this chalice for all who are here and all who are not, for all who have ever walked through our doors, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, and for those we can't even yet imagine. For each of us and for all of us, may this flame burn warm and bright. Will you rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn? It's Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, number 361 in the gray hymnal. Standing for our unison affirmation, the words are in your order of service, and they start with the word love. Love is the spirit of this church. The Quadratus is its This is our grand covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you.
My name is April Rosario. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Director of Faith Formation here at First Parish in Waltham. Now, every month, we, and by we, I mean all of us, those in the sanctuary, our kids and youth who are downstairs, and our friends that are at home, explore a theme. And our theme for the month of September is the practice of invitation. So, with that in mind, I have a story I'd like to share with you. A story about finding our way home. And like so many of my favorite stories, this one starts with once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was a child. Now, this child had grown up in the city with their family. But their grandparents lived in the country on a farm. Now, as the years went on, their grandparents started needing a little bit of help. So the child and their family decided to pack up, load a moving truck, and move all the way from the city to the country. After they had gotten there, the child and the grandparents were taking a walk through the woods. The child was walking like this. Oh! The grandparents looked at each other, looked down at the child, and said, "Is something wrong?" The child stomped their feet again, crossed their arms, and went, "Ugh! I want to go home." The child was having big feelings. The grandparents recognized this. They took a few more steps, and then one of the grandparents pointed up at a tree and said, "Do you see that nest there? If you were a bird, that would be your home." They took a couple more steps and heard a faint bzzz sound. The grandparent said, "Oh, a bee. You know, if you were a bee, a hive would be your home. If you were a fox, a den would be your home. If you were a water drop," we talked about water last week, "if you were a water drop, the clouds or the rivers or the seas or the lakes would be your home." The child continued their walk like this. "Well, I'm not a bird or a bee or a fox or a water drop," the child said, "and I want to go home." The grandparent said, "What do you miss about home?" The child said, "I miss my friends, and I miss my stuff, and I miss my school." The grandparent said, "That makes sense. Your friends and your stuff and your school makes you feel what?" And the child said, "They make me feel safe and protected and loved." The grandparents each reached down and held a hand of the child. And the stomping started to turn to gentle walking. And the grandparent said, "That makes sense. But how do you feel right now, in this moment with us? Do you feel protected and loved?" The child said, "Yes, I do." They said, "Well, then you must be a tree, and the forest must be your home, because that's where we are." The child giggled. The grandparent said, "Sometimes a home is walls and a roof and a floor, sure, and yours used to be in the city. But more often than not, a home is where you feel safe and protected and loved. And sometimes that happens in a forest. Sometimes it happens on a farm. It might happen in a playground. If you're a bird, it might happen in a nest. And if you're a bee, it might happen in a hive." Finding our way home can take us through many different paths on many different journeys. And over the course of our lives, I bet we will have many, many, many homes. The grandparents kept holding on to the child's hand, and quickly their steps turned from stomping to skipping. And they finished their walk and headed back to the place for right now the child was calling home. The end. Now, why did I choose this story? I chose this story because it's all about how we can find our ways home and the idea that we have many, many, many homes throughout our lives. Now, I like to end all of my wisdom tales with a challenge. Now, this challenge is for our kids, our youth, our grown-ups, our elders, anyone who wishes to participate. You can try it out for a day, a week, a month, a whole year. But here is your challenge. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a lived faith. That means we are about the doing. So here's the challenge. The next few days, find how many different ways you can invite someone into feeling at home, into feeling safe and loved and cared for and protected. Maybe that looks like a smile to a friend on a playground or a high five during an event. Maybe it looks like inviting someone to walk with you or over for tea. Maybe it looks like a sleepover. I don't know. But if you choose to accept it, that is your challenge. Find the ways you can invite people home. Now, In just a moment, our kids and our youth are going to gather their things and line up by that door there. And as they do, I invite you all to rise as you are willing and able in body and spirit for our next song. Which is 3-4-6. Come sing a song with me.
You may sit. Now is the time in our service when we lift up the joys and concerns of our community, the twists and turns, the tumults of our lives, and the celebrations of our lives, so that we might be held together in all of what comes. If you are on Zoom today and you have a joy, concern, or a complicated something to share, go ahead and drop it in the chat and we'll read it out later in the service or later on. And if you have something to share in the space, physical space we're in, please line up here. Hold the microphone real close to your mouth. Remind us your name so that we can greet you again after we are done. And thanks so much, Tech, for bringing that up on the screen for me. We know that there are always joys, sorrows, milestones, and complicated mixtures of emotions too tender to be shared publicly. So we'll light a final candle in honor of all that we hold still in our hearts. Would you join me for a moment of meditation, reflection, prayer, as is your practice? Do whatever feels right in your body to prepare yourself for something important. Maybe that means wiggling around a little bit in your seat. Maybe you like your feet on the ground. Maybe you like to sit up a little bit taller or take a few big, deep breaths. Maybe you close your eyes or lower your gaze. Whatever's right for your body. Great mystery. We long to feel at home in our bodies and in our beings, at home as in safe, grounded, knowing our own wholeness, free from fear of violence. We long to feel at home in our relationships and in our communities. But there are so many barriers between us and this kind of belonging, this kind of acceptance, this kind of freedom. And we know those barriers are disproportionately told out. Some of us find home in a caregiver and then hold their hand as they slowly leave us. And some of us find home in a beloved, rest in that deep love, and then live with the unspeakable loss of their embrace. Some of us have lost beloved homes, physical or spiritual, because we would not abandon ourselves enough to fit in, or because they could not abide our truth-telling, or merely because we were carried away on a current and had to start again. May this moment and this breath be a haven, some respite, a time that you know deep in your bones that you deserve safety and care. May you be wrapped in the embrace of this community of love so that you may remember yet again just how precious you are, and that you have the capacity to return again and again and again to the home of your body, that you can withstand the feelings and the memories held within it, that you can develop deeper peace and belonging in yourself. And then we get to share that with other people. We get to pass that love along, that belonging along to those who need it around us. May all that is sacred hold these spoken prayers and those lifted now up in a time of silence. So, and amen.
Good morning. My name is Elise Gittleman. I serve as the Community Outreach Commissioner here at First Parish. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a little older than my red hair makes me seem. I'm actually 69 years old, and it's just this color. I'm wearing some green pants and a white and blue flowery shirt for today. Today's collection is a Share the Plate for Chaplains on the Way, which is a non-denominational interfaith organization offering spiritual companionship to people experiencing homelessness here in Waltham, wherever they may need to be. In addition to a ministry of presence, they offer one-to-one spiritual direction. They hold weekly interfaith spiritual practices on Wednesdays throughout the year. They help to facilitate weekly meetings of the Waltham Community Leadership Group and provide a 5-day winter breakfast program that we host here at First Parish in Waltham, and actually have extended to do through the spring and summer and fall 3 days a week. So we hope you'll consider lending your support to this important organization. If you're writing a check, please put Share the Plate in the memo. You can also contribute via Venmo to First Parish in Waltham and also put Share the Plate in the memo. Thank you for your generosity. Will the, okay, is this Randall?
I used to think maybe you love me, now baby I'm sure. I just can't wait till the day when you knock on my door. yeah. 'Cause I just can't wait till the you're around. Oh yeah, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, and don't it feel good? Hey, all right now, and don't it feel good? Hey, yeah. I used to I'm waiting for you. Now I don't want you back for the weekend, not back for a day. No. I said, baby, I just want you back, and I want you to stay. Oh, yeah. Walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, and don't it feel good? Hey, Al, right now, and don't it feel good? Walking on sunshine, walking on sunshine. I feel alive, I feel a love, I feel a love that's really real. I feel alive, I feel a love, I feel a love that's really me. I'm on sunshine, baby. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, baby. I'm walking on sunshine. I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, oh, don't it feel good? Hey, oh, I'm walking on good.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Katie Galati, and I am a middle-aged white woman with reddish-brown hair and purple glasses and a gray top with some lace on it. This morning's reading is Where the Heart Is by Jess Reynolds. I wrote home on my grocery list yesterday, below eggs and milk and orange juice, as if I could find it as easily as butter. White capital letters on a hanging sign, Dairy, aisle 12. I have had homes in too many places to count. A red chair, a beach in winter, a too big sweatshirt that smelled like someone I loved. The coffee beans make aisle 8 smell like the kitchen in the blue house I grew up in. Rough and rich and full. Is there a home that doesn't smell like coffee, like sea brine, like someone you love?
It's my first time going up there since I'm actually your visitor. On my way. Oof. There's an old Sufi tale that goes this way. A caravan full of people and camels crossed a desert and reached a place where they expected to find water. They lowered bucket after bucket. Oh, they found a big, deep hole there, random hole in the ground, and they lowered bucket after bucket into that hole. But the rope each time came back empty. No bucket, no water. They then began to lower folks into the hole, human beings, whole people, into the hole on the rope, but they too disappeared. Finally, a wise one amongst the group volunteered to go down into the hole themselves in search of water. When the wise one reached the body of the hole, he found himself face to face with a horrible monster. He thought to himself, I can't hope to escape from this place, but I can at least remain aware of everything I'm experiencing. The monster said, where is the best place to be? The wise one thought, I don't want to hurt his feelings. If I name some beautiful city, he might think I'm disparaging his hometown. Or maybe this hole is the place he thinks is best. So he said, the best place to be is wherever you feel at home, even if it's a hole in the ground. This appeased the monster, and he said, you are so wise that I will not only let you go, but I will also free the foolish ones who came down before you, and I will release the water into this well. Wherever you feel at home is the best place to be. Wherever you feel held and secure, wrapped in an embrace, wherever you can be your beautiful, complicated, authentic, and unmasked self, and be loved for exactly who you are. Wherever you feel most free. We need these places desperately. If only it were as easy as putting it on a grocery list, right? Gosh, our culture has really instilled in me a desire to just buy the things I truly need. But this one cannot be bought, along with most of the most important ones. They say it is where the heart is, but this doesn't quite sum up just how crucial it is to our well-being, just how much we need it, how much we long for it, how empty the places we inhabit can feel if we do not have home. Now, when I say home today, I choose that word very carefully. And I do that because I want to lean into the many layers that that word has in its meaning for us today. Home can be a place we live, a place that we invest in, snuggle our beloveds in, toil to repair, create rituals of everyday life in, like making the coffee or the tea. A place that has endless needs to be cleaned, fixed, and paid for, where we are protected from the elements and a little bit from the world outside, or at least it feels that way. Where we get to decide, for the most part, who enters and who stays out. We shape a space we can shape in whatever way feels most important to us, the people who are in it. And sometimes, our houses or apartments feel like the opposite of home, right? Sometimes they are dangerous places where we have to hide who we are. Sometimes they are not filled with kisses and kind words. Sometimes there are dangers lurking that could catch us off guard at any moment. A house doesn't always make a home. A boundary like four walls can either be a sanctuary or a prison. And so often it's a mix. We can learn that love feels like the embrace of a parent who also teaches us they are capable of violence. Or we abandon ourselves so completely that we forget who we are in order to receive the love that we most yearn for. We fit in to get our needs met and lose who we truly are in the process. And for those of us for whom home was a complicated place in our formative years, or a dangerous one, or both, we often shape our whole selves around that sense of what home feels like in our bodies, destined to play out similar painful patterns until we find places of healing, or in other words, homes. Places where anyone invites us, welcomes us with open arms, sees us for who we are, understands us, wraps their arms around us and tells us we are beloved, we are not alone, we are precious to them. A teacher, a therapist, a minister, or a friend can create a home for us just as easily as they can make us feel less at home in the world. They can wrap us in love in a way that grounds us in a feeling of home. Anyone can, really. So people can be homes too, or as individuals or as groups. And physical spaces can create this for us as well, right? Libraries, rivers, the Midway in JP on karaoke night, or your favorite teacher's classroom during a lunch period in which you have 0 friends to sit with. Writer Theo Pelletier puts it this way: home is a place where you can catch a dream and ride it to the end of the line and back, where you can watch shadow and light doing a tight little tango on the wooden floor and an intoxicated moon rising through an empty window. Home is a place to become yourself. It's the right spot, the bright spot, or just a spot where you can land your feet and recline in a tub of sparkling brew if you're so inclined. It's a place of silence where harmony and chaos are shuffled like a deck of cards, and it's your draw. It's somewhere you can close a door and open your heart. Where did you first feel this kind of home? Where do you feel it now in your life? Home can be a place where you live, yes, and it can be any place where you feel at ease and fully welcomed, a physical space or a person or a group of people of any sizes or shapes. Spiritual homes can range from communities like this one to certain forests or cities or temporary groups of people like the conference I go to on Star Island every year that is transitory but still yet a community. One of the most profoundly important homes for me as a teenager, one of the most formative places, was weekend-long youth UU, Unitarian Universalist conferences. Again, ephemeral, fleeting, intentional spaces of inclusion, meeting, and connection, but not static. While home can look like a whole bunch of different things, it is also elusive, right? Caught in fragments and glimpses, in moments of real connection, in being caught when you fall, in lentil soup that reminds me of my mom's, in singing "How Could Anyone" in a circle of teenagers, or the smell of that shampoo she wore, or a feather boa that is rainbow-colored. And this makes it all the more powerful, right? If we could just buy it at the grocery store and keep it forever, would it still feel as precious? If we could find it, capture it, and hold on to it forever without ever having it ripped from our tight fists, would it feel so important? Would we cherish it so? Nature writer Edward Abbey says, everyone carries in heart and mind the image of the ideal place, the right place, the one true home, known and unknown, actual or visionary. Whether we had one of those magical childhood homes where our boo-boos always got kisses and our family understood and cheered for us or not, we seek those places throughout our lives. And only when we have found them, even if just in fragments and glimpses, can we begin to understand how to create them for ourselves and for each other in sustaining places for the journey from birth to death, for a respite. No matter how broken or dangerous the place we lived felt for us, moments where we are reminded that we deserve safety, even if it's just one person who showed us that they loved us, change everything sometimes. Moments where we are reminded what we deserve, which is safety and love and so much more. Help us to keep journeying towards finding it and passing it along. One of my favorite quotes about these kinds of places is by witch author, activist, and permaculture teacher Star Hawk. She wrote, "We are all longing to go home, to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends. Somewhere that we can be free." I've used this quote many times to describe spiritual community, but really what it is the ideal of what we are trying to become, not who we are perfectly now, right? We are working towards that ideal. True home, that kind of home that we are trying to create, the kind of home that helps me find more homes and helps us all find more homes in our lives and pass that along to each other, does not always look like a house. It certainly doesn't look like a giant, modern, new construction house with 4,000 square feet but only 2 bedrooms. That's a real house that I saw for sale in Waltham this week on Zillow. And ultimately, we are all journeying toward a different kind of home. Several kinds, right? The kind within us and the kind that is our destination. That kind of home, the one that we don't agree on the shape of, is the afterlife. We often use home as a metaphor for the afterlife, whatever that is, because I think it's a really beautiful, hopeful, and inclusive way to think about what happens after we die. As Unitarian Universalists, we make room for lots of different beliefs about what might happen when our lives are complete here on this earth. And we believe, drawn from our Universalist heritage, that whatever happens, it's the same thing for each of us. None of us are different or special or better than anyone else. So wherever we go together. Wherever we come from, our energy is recycled and we return to our source when our lives are done. We return to the home of the earth, the home of our shared consciousness and being, the home of our oneness, which we only feel sometimes in glimpses and fragments too. And doesn't that sound a lot like being embraced by the interdependent web? It sure sounds like a kind of homegoing to me. Since home means different things to all of us, it also leaves room for a lot of diversity in our imagination for what that might look like, and allows us a way to imagine and connect with an idea of what it might be to return to source and how that can still be different from person to person and at the same time the same. Cool how that works, huh? I hope it feels like walking through a familiar door into a space that embraces you and some beings that love you unconditionally, even if they don't have corporeal form. I hope it feels like coming home to a true home. American spiritual leader Ram Dass famously said, "We're all just walking each other home." Have you heard that before? Which points me to my last and perhaps most crucial point about home today. We can create homes for each other. And knowing that homes can be complicated and fraught, hard to find and hold on to, perhaps we are called to create homes for each other, to companion each other on the journey towards our ultimate home, whatever it looks like, to ease the travels a little with some company, an ear to listen, some words of encouragement, someone to make music with or to dance with to keep us from getting weary along the way. We can support people in finding the homes that they need by reminding them that they deserve that, because we all do. We can create a home here that welcomes all those who strive for the freedom and thriving of all. We can work together to cultivate resources and safety nets that will make more homes more accessible to more people, and by that I again mean all of the kinds of homes that we need. Whether it's actual roofs over our heads, or safety in our houses, or spiritual communities where diversity is celebrated, or communities where inclusion is centered. On our way home, as we ride these currents, we can be a port, a haven, a refuge for each other. On our way home, may we find the homes we need to keep going with joy in our hearts. On our way home, may we create the homes that everyone needs to thrive and to be free. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn this morning is number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. It is hope of the promise of homes to come. May we sing it with that in our hearts. There is more love, friends. More love bubbles up from within you, and it surrounds you here, I hope, in this place, where we strive to be a sanctuary, a home for all those who wander, wherever our journeys take us, whatever we lose along the way, however we stumble along at times. May we be a home for each other, a companion, a chaplain, on our way home. You are a blessing. You are a blessing. Go now and bless this beautiful and broken world.